Hey fight fans, welcome back to the Fight Book. This is the Indian accent guy back with the new fight announcements, and today we have a total of 8 fight announcements from the UFC, and these are big ones. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. First, let's talk about UFC Shanghai August 23rd card, and the headliner and the co-headliner of this card has been announced. If you are a subscriber of the Fight Book, you are not gonna be surprised by the headliner because I have told you many times that there are rumors light heavyweight Chinese prospect Ming Yang will take on number 12 ranked Johnny Walker in the main event of UFC Shanghai, and now this fight is confirmed. Ming Yang is ranked at number 14 and he is currently 3-0 in the UFC. All 3 fights round 1 finishes with performance bonuses. On the other hand, Johnny Walker, he is riding 2-fight losing streak, getting finished by Enclave and Ozdemir. Yang knows how to knock other people out, while Walker knows how to get knocked out. Anyway, the co-headliner of the event is more interesting. Number 9 ranked UFC featherweight Aljamain Sterling, the former bantamweight champion, will take on number 6 ranked Brian Ortega. This is a key featherweight bout and both are pay-per-view stars. Still, they are in the co-headliner. Fans are pretty confused that why Sterling versus Ortega is not the headliner. So the reason for doing that, if you remember, a week before at UFC Baku, the headliner was Khalid Rountree Jr. versus Jamal Hill, but the co-headliner was Rafael Fiziev versus Ignacio Bahamondes. Fiziev is Azerbaijan's own, and the people of Baku, the people of Azerbaijan, when they watched the co-main event, Rafael Fiziev winning, so they left the arena after that fight and they didn't give an F about Jamal Hill versus Khalid Rountree Jr. despite that was a good fight on paper. Still, when the main event was started, more than the half of the arena was empty. That fight felt like that is happening at UFC Apex. So in this event, Aljamain Sterling versus Brian Ortega, none of them is a Chinese, so they will be fighting in the co-main event. But for the people watching online, you know that fight is the real main event, while Yang Mingyang, China's own, will serve as the headliner for Chinese people who will pay the ticket price. Anyway, a fight that was announced for this card, a women's strawweight bout between Shiming versus Bruna Brazil, is now no longer taking place at UFC Shanghai August 23rd. Instead, for UFC Japan, this fight will take place on Road to UFC semi-finals as a special main event a day before on August 22nd in the same arena. Anyway, let's move on from the UFC Shanghai card. A short notice fight is added on UFC 317 this Saturday night. Rodriguez Dumas is out of his fight against Jackson McKee. Newcomer Christopher Everett is now stepping in on 4 days notice to fight Jackson McKee this weekend. Everett was scheduled to fight at Dana White's Contender Series, but instead he is now directly signed to the UFC and will be making his debut at UFC 317. The reason Rodriguez Dumas had to pull out was that the earliest he could get the ankle monitor off in front of a judge would be by Thursday, which would be too late. Anyway, 2 fights are added on UFC 318 card July 19th, headlined by BMF title bout. First one is a heavyweight bout between losers. Ryan Spann will take on Lucas Brzeski. Spann is 1-4 in his last 5 fights and is coming off his heavyweight debut loss to Waldo Cortes Acosta. On the other hand, Brzeski is also 1-5 in the UFC and currently riding a 2-fight losing streak. So if they give us a boring fight, they both may get released. Anyway, the second one is a good one. It is a welterweight bout where number 14 ranked welterweight Kevin Holland will return against Daniel Rodriguez. This is going to be Kevin Holland's 4th fight in 2025 and he wants to fight 6 times this year. This fight was originally slated to take place at UFC 279, where Khamzat Chimaev missed weight, Nate Diaz refused to face him, and his opponent was changed to Tony Ferguson, who was slated to face Li Jingliang, who faced Rodriguez after Holland agreed to face Chimaev. Another fucked up story. Next, there is a bantamweight bout added on UFC Vegas 108 card August 2nd, headlined by Amir Albazi versus Tetsuro Taira. Rinyan Nakamura will return after losing his O, this time against Nathan Fletcher. Both fighters are coming off a loss, so they will be trying to get back into the win column. Then lastly, a fight is added on UFC Paris for September 6th, headlined by Imavo versus Ohio. It is a lightweight bout. Mason Jones, who is coming off his win over Jeremy Stephens, will be taking on Bolaji Oki, who is also coming off a win over Michael as well. Now the official announcements end here, but there is a news about the headliner of UFC 321 October 25th in Abu Dhabi. It is reported that the UFC wants Islam Makhachev to headline this event against Jack Della Maddalena, but Islam has expressed interest in fighting in the US, specifically at Madison Square Garden. So we will see what happens with that and where Islam lands. UFC is probably going to agree with him because they also need a super fight for the MSG card. With that being said, who is gonna headline UFC Abu Dhabi UFC 321? It is most likely going to be Magomed Ankalaev versus Alex Pereira 2, because Alex Pereira previously said that he will take on Magomed Ankalaev between September to November. And now Magomed Ankalaev also teases a rematch with Alex Pereira in October. Most of the world may not like Magomed Ankalaev very much, but he is a star in Abu Dhabi, so he can headline UFC 321, and that will be a good headliner for the Abu Dhabi card. So you can expect UFC 321 headliner Alex Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev 2, and UFC 322 headliner Jack Della Maddalena versus Islam Makhachev for the welterweight title. And that's all in this video. Now you're again completely up to date with the fight world, with the fight schedule. So hit the like button if you enjoyed, share your thoughts in the comment section because that is necessary for my motivation, and if you have already done it, do whatever you want.